Welcome in then to the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you for your questions. Frank is here, Mario is here, as is Craig Burley. Mario, I love your buttons. You've got big buttons there, mate.
I'm trying to keep it very English for you.
Yeah, I like it. It's beautiful. At least you made an effort, Frank. Craig, which manager has been most impressive between Nuno of Forest, Andoni Iraola of Bournemouth, and Enzo Maresca of Chelsea? All done very well, obviously.
Yeah. The one that's impressed me the most over a longer period is Iraola.
Okay.
Because he's been there, this is his second full season, I believe.
Yeah.
They had the highest ever finish last year in the club's history, and they're sitting fifth at the moment. So in terms of consistency, and probably less resources, because Forest did sign a lot of players and spent a lot of money. And Chelsea, you know, Maresca's done a great job, there's absolutely no doubt about that. But the resources that he's worked with at Bournemouth, I think has been very impressive.
Frank, Pep usually is considered a better coach than Ancelotti, but due to his recent downfall and statement saying, "I want my players back," is it safe to say Ancelotti is actually better, especially after last season in which he managed so well a worst injury crisis?
It's hard to say, but that's the truth, that Ancelotti, with all the injuries that he had last season, managed to win the double, and which is not the case for Manchester City. But Manchester City is a real enigma. We've never seen a team with such a standard, such a high standard, dropping down that fast. I mean, I don't recall any other team in the history of football being so good, winning 4 times the Premier League, winning the Champions League 2 years ago, or I think it's 2 years ago, and being nowhere near it right now. I mean, 9 loss in 11 games. I mean, that's unbelievable. We are talking about Manchester City, and you can have injuries. You still have some players who should be able to cope with the situation, especially against some teams. Well, yes, Ancelotti has maybe more experience, maybe he's luckier as well, but and I think we have to be cautious with Pep, because maybe he's going to react. It's not the end of the season; it's just half of the season, but it's not encouraging what we see right now.
Get ready for this, Mario. Start, bench, or sell?
No,
Solanke. I'm going to get ready. Here it comes. I'm going to move on because he's and I don't want to spend too much time with him. Solanke, Isak, Jackson.
Oh, I like Isak. I like Isak. You know, I think at this point Jackson is. I will pick Isak. Jackson, I will have him on the bench, and Solanke will have to make his way into the team.
Do you agree, Frank?
I do. Isak has proven for years that he can be a striker, that when he's injured, Newcastle is doing not good. Jackson has improved, but he has to go back to scoring right now. And Solanke still to show us that he's capable of doing the best of the best. But yeah, the order is perfect for me.
I'm going to get interrupted in this question, I think. For Craig and Mario, since you both played for teams that were relegated, at what point in the season did you first realise just how bad things were?
The start.
Ooh, that's fire at us. No.
Yeah.
Ooh, Craig.
Well, you get a good
let
gauge.
Craig go first.
Well, no, you get a good gauge. Fortunately enough, I'd been at Chelsea, and you train with players and you play and you can see it. And then I was at Celtic with the same, with Lamberts and the Larsons, and you train, you see the standard. And then when I went to Derby, they were good lads, but the standard dropped.
Okay.
And you can...
Were you aware of that when you signed? That it was going to be that sort of challenge?
Yes, I kind of was. But then I was a little bit shocked when I got down there and saw how difficult it was going to be. And we survived the first 2 years, and I kept saying to Jim Smith at the time, and I mean, he agreed with me, but it was just the finances. I said, Jim, if we don't sign better players in these positions, I said, we're going to go.
Yeah.
And he said, I know. And we didn't. And eventually, you know, you can just tell. So it's very, very early in the season, probably near the start of the season, I thought, we're probably going to go this year. You can't keep, it was a bit like Southampton, do you remember?
Yes.
They kept doing it and kept doing it with Hasenhüttl, and they were selling this player and selling that player. They're going to go eventually, and they did.
Mario, were you the same sort of psyche? At the start, you thought, uh-oh.
No, not really. You know, when I joined Birmingham, I was like, I felt like the first season was that good, that I felt like that confident, and I was like, oh sure, you know, I left Chelsea, I came with boost of confidence there. And the second season, just what Craig says, you have to adjust and add more quality to the team. We didn't. It felt like we became better athletes, but not better players. So in that sense, I felt like we could have done better. But still today, you understand, if I look back, and I'm sure, you know, like Craig will relate to that, it's one of the worst times of any professional to experience. You don't want to experience that. It doesn't matter what people can tell you, like, oh no, it doesn't, no. Until today, I will tell you, if someone asks me what was one of the worst moments, it's that. Of course, we'll call it injury, but that was one of the worst times ever. We went down, I didn't go down with Birmingham, I went to another team, I went to France actually. But still, if I remember that, no one should experience that because it's really sad. You cannot get away from that.
It's a bit of a downer at Christmas. Let's perk things up a bit. Frank, can you share any memories with us what Christmas Eve was like during your time at Chelsea?
My first Christmas Eve was very nice because Gianluca Vialli was still at the hotel. And we signed the same summer, and he was with a girlfriend at the time, and I invited him to share the Christmas dinner with my family, and that was very nice.
Oh, nice.
We'll always remember this as a wonderful Christmas. But otherwise, you know, there is nothing much to remember because you have to be prepared for the day after to be ready. And I had the chance in my 5 years, I never played any game away from home, so I didn't have to go to the hotel the night before Christmas. So I spent all my Christmas at home, but it's not really Christmas because you have to play like the 26th, or so you train the 25th. So it's not. You have to chill out to make sure you eat properly.
One of the best ones I ever saw was Mark Hughes. So Mark, I think he had a little flat in sort of somewhere in Surrey or whatever it was that he used to rent, but his family still lived in Manchester.
Okay.
So we trained on Christmas Eve, obviously. So he trained, drove back to Manchester, right?
Yep. Which, for those who don't know, what's that, 3-4 hours?
Yeah.
London. Yeah, probably 3.
Yep.
Drove back Friday.
3 hours.
Right, Christmas Eve, drove back down for training Christmas morning, drove back up after training to have his Christmas dinner, and drove back down the same night because we were going in a hotel ahead of the match on Boxing Day.
Right.
And
Wow.
I was like,
Dedicated family, man.
Oof.
I don't think there was a choice.
Yeah. Mario, what was it like for you as a youngster? Obviously being, I imagine your family were all in Amsterdam, yeah? And there you are, Christmas in London on your own.
Yeah. It was one of my first ones, so I you know, like the only thing, like for me, it was just a surprise of being away from home, of course, and you're thinking like, oh, what are you gonna do? And the first year, I was kind of like living together with my brother, so it was like 2 boys and thinking like, what do you do? Just chill and wait till the game was on. But the only thing I do remember is, and I know the guys been there too, we used to go to the Chelsea hotel, and it was like a tradition. Every year we would go to the hotel. And at the beginning, I was like, who's going to be in the hotel? No one's going to be there. And then you see the kids, how much we could do, how much we could affect them. We go into it wasn't a hotel, I mean, it was like a hospital. And we go into the hospital, and the kids were so happy, and we didn't do anything. We just smiled, took pictures with them, but we gave them, I think, probably one of the best Christmas ever.
Yeah. And
they do it until today. I see Chelsea still do it. So that is one of the memories I will always share. It's like going to that hospital, and it's still there, the hospital.
That is beautiful, beautiful. Meanwhile, Mario, where will Ten Hag go next, and how is he viewed in Holland currently?
I think he's keeping his head down, but I'm sure he will find a club. I mean,
Counting his money, isn't he?
We have to remember, he did well in Holland. He did well in Holland. So I think in Holland he will find something. You understand? But then when it comes to England, yeah, of course, it is a tricky. I know Frank is laughing, but in Holland, Frank, he did well at Ajax. So that's why at Ajax, they might open the door
I'm
again
just
for him.
laughing.
No, I agree with you.
Mario, I'm just laughing at Dan because today that guy is being so nasty. They say, well, he has the money, so he doesn't care. He can keep his head down because he has the money.
It was easy to find in Holland. Bicycles.
Thanks for that.
Oh, he definitely got the money, but he had the money. But he had the money before he even became a coach. He already had the money because I heard his family is not. They don't have financial problems, so he's not doing it for the money.
Oh, good for the Ten Hags.
The more you elongate this, the more chance.
No, I'm just getting on with it. Shut up.
Yeah, but the more chance
Which club
come down with this.
Which title, Frank, aside from the World Cup, is the most special to you?
The first FA Cup final that we had, because Chelsea haven't won something for 26 years, and that was a very special one because that was my first silverware as well, my first title, and the FA Cup was very special. And we had, I was told that we spent the most time celebrating at Wembley in the history of the FA Cup. I think we stayed 2 hours on the field after the game, and the day after we had to go on Fulham Road. It was like 100,000 people down to Fulham Road. That was amazing. I mean, the party was great. Pelé was there, and you see that was the night of the FA Cup final. That was great. I mean, very special day. I think it's a tricky day for Craig, but it's a really special day for me because my first title for Chelsea in my first year, and with the Chelsea fan, that was really special.
Mario?
I won the second one with Frank, so I was on Fulham Road as well. You know, the second one, the FA Cup was extraordinary. Going there, oh my God! You know, like for me was one of those moments because I won it in Holland, but it will never be the same because England is another level. I was like, wow, that was the road with Chelsea. What they did before I signed for Chelsea, they brought me through Fulham Road just to impress me. Next thing you know, I win the cup. And I go and celebrate it there. Was not a bad journey.
Not a bad journey at all. A final question. We learned on Saturday that Craig had ordered a Santa costume and will be wearing it at Christmas for his grandson. Will we be getting pictures of you dressed as Santa?
Probably not.
Is a question. I think we should. Most definitely.
This part of the show is getting a little bit too intimate for me.
What do you mean too intimate?
Exactly.
In what? How long have you been doing this bit of the show? 15 years.
What are you going to wear?
Come on, man.
What are you going to wear to be intimate? What you going to wear? It's going to be so intimate.
You know, you get a Santa costume.
Dinner?
Yes. It's not like I would sniff in your rubbish to get it.
Too much.
That is it. We will.
Too much hearsay.
ESPN FC will return.
Merry
tomorrow.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you all. Craig won't be here, so that's an early present for everyone.